Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Megan, and today I'm going to be discussing episode 9 of Traitors. So let's get into it. So this episode starts off with Rob being revealed to Eric that he is a traitor. I was actually a little surprised that Eric wasn't as mad. I wasn't sure how he was going to feel as Rob is a traitor, but I'm thinking that maybe he feels a little bit of relief in a sense because nobody really suspects Rob in the house and he's close to Rob. So I think he might feel like, hey, we could probably win this game because he understands based on his confessional why Rob chose him because he is obviously a faithful and no one's really catching on to him. But he is also aware of the fact that Rob could turn on him at any point in time. I liked how he acknowledged that in his confessional, but he also acknowledged that he's like, I need to trust him right now in this moment in order for us to work together to get to the end. I don't know right now whether Rob wants to take Eric to the end. It seems in the moment when they were talking that he's really genuine about it. And I can see Rob definitely wanting to take someone to the end and maybe win with them. But I also see it as if Eric self-destructs, he's just going to go with the rest of the house and let Eric continue to spiral. Because he didn't have a problem with that in the last two Traitors. At the end of the episode when they're in the turret and he mentions that Kristen is onto him, I wonder if he will have Eric's back or not. I know I just said that if he self-destructs, I don't think Rob's going to save him. But I can see Rob really wanting Eric to be at the end with him to at least guarantee that safety or the trust that he has in him so he necessarily doesn't get screwed in the end. I know Eric in the confessional said he could be aware of that, of Rob turning on him. It's just, will Eric have the guts to turn on Rob if the opportunity arises, or should he just go with believing Rob be like, hey, we're going to the end together and splitting the pot if that does happen. So it'll be interesting to see if Eric can get to the end and then decide whether to be a real traitor in the moment or not. So I honestly really love the duo together. I liked the reaction that Eric gave with Rob being a traitor. I liked their conversation. I think killing Dorinda was like a safe choice, honestly, because she isn't necessarily bonded with everyone else, or the alliance that she probably had with the housewives is now gone. So she's just kind of like a loose end, which I think Eric had mentioned in the turret. And Rob is buddy-buddy with Eric, but he's also, like, everyone's kind of in pairings a little bit. You have Tara and Johnny. You have Mark and Kristen that could be a pairing. Natalie's kind of like on her own. I don't think she has a specific pairing, but you could definitely pair like Rob and Eric together or Rob and Maura together. And then you have like Kristen, Mark, and Rob. You have Kristen, Mark, Eric, and Rob. Eric and Kristen are kind of like a duo until towards the end of the episode. So you have a lot of these like dual pairings within like the group of the alliance, which is actually kind of cool because Rob is sitting in a very good place due to his connections with people in the house. Except for Johnny and Tara, I think they are kind of the ones that are kind of off on the island in terms of faithfuls that are on their side. There's no one else except really them two. Mark, you don't really know what he's thinking because he's not much in the confessionals at all. But I think he just kind of jumps on board with kind of the Dagger group because you still have Natalie too. I really enjoyed the competition. It was so cool seeing the Traitors come together while like the rest of the faithfuls are in the room or the area because they were outside. I just thought it was really clever. It kind of reminded me of one of the missions in season 2 where they had the scarecrow and they had to answer questions about like who isn't speaking up, who's the loudest, who do you suspect is a traitor, or whatever it is. It was a really early mission in season 2, so this mission kind of reminded me of that. And I think it was smart. I really like the conversation between Rob and Eric every time they got out, because they were like on the same page. When Rob mentioned, he's like, what if we continue to go with Tara? And he's like, I think that's a great idea. And so I was worried on how they were going to answer, because Eric is the first one to reveal his answer, and he said Tara for one of the first ones. And they all like were kind of paired in that first round, which I like made me feel good, because I wasn't sure on how Eric and Rob were going to answer, considering they are the traitors and they're going to do Tara each round. And then Rob voted for Tara a couple rounds later, and then they noticed there was a pattern. So someone was just like, why don't we all vote for Tara? And so they did. And then Johnny and Tara were the two that didn't vote for Tara, because they were being honest in the game. And I do agree with, who mentioned it at the round table? Oh, shoot. I don't remember who mentioned it at the round table, but they said that Johnny, like, really appeared to be a faithful at the round table. And I think they did really good to show that they were faithfuls. Like, it's very obvious, I think, now to the group that they are faithfuls. Or at least in my opinion, even though we know that they are faithfuls, it does seem transparent that they are. Oh, I just feel like things are getting so good. Like with Steven being banished, I wouldn't even expect Steven to be banished this episode. I thought Johnny was going to be banished. And then the whole round table changed. And Rob, when they were talking, whoever he was talking to about Steven, it might have been Natalie, he's like, I honestly don't mind going with Steven. He's like, I haven't got with Eric yet, but he's like, maybe we could do some eye contact and maybe he'll know to vote for Steven. The thing that was fishy at the round table is that Rob, Maura, and Eric didn't really speak up, at least from what we could see in the edit. So I'm not sure if those round tables probably take at least an hour. So maybe they could have spoken up, but they were very quiet. I thought that was really interesting, because Rob hasn't been super quiet the last couple round tables, but he doesn't necessarily like need to speak because he's not really under any type of pressure. Same with Eric and Maura. Maura didn't even speak. She's the one who started the round table, I think, last time. But when Eric was going to reveal his answer, I thought he was going to say, I'm so confused, because between Johnny and Steven, I don't know what to do, so I just chose this person. I feel what failed him was his remark about being a throwaway vote, because technically it wasn't really necessarily a throwaway vote, because Steven and Johnny were both ones that were brought up to the table to get banished. I just wish he worded it differently, because Kristen did mention something to him afterwards. I feel like Kristen went on like a really strong. You could tell Eric is just intimidated by Kristen. She just seems like very intimidating in general. So I think like Eric was just nervous. She's like, I don't even know what to do. Eric is just nervous in general. Like, he doesn't really know what to say. Like, same with Tara. Like, she doesn't know what's happening, and she's very meta about it. But like, Eric is obviously a faithful, and so I can't remember if there was a discussion if someone was recruited or not. Oh yeah, I think it was Mark, Kristen, and Rob at the very beginning of the episode when they came for breakfast. I think they mentioned something about a recruitment. And no one really has mentioned, I wonder if it'll be shown next episode if Kristen mentioned something like maybe Eric was recruited. But then like the logic of it is, why, if you already know Candace and Lisa were traitors, why would they recruit Eric? Unless they think Eric is an original traitor. But I mean, it could or could not make sense based on how wrong he's been at the round table. So that could be like a good cover up. But he was also on the tree trunk for murder. So even if they decide that Eric is a traitor, like, things in the past aren't adding up for him to be a traitor, except the recruitment. But Candace and Lisa, I don't think, would recruit Eric. Or I guess you would have to put the third traitor into play. We don't know who the third traitor is, but who would someone be? Who would recruit Eric, essentially, I guess, if you think Eric is a traitor? Who would recruit Eric? So that could be anybody. Kristen could recruit Eric because she's close to him. Mark could probably recruit Eric. I think Eric is a good one to recruit because everyone knows he's a guaranteed faithful. So I think the logic and the explanation on how Kristen possibly goes forward if they don't end up murdering her, is going to explain to other faithfuls how Eric is a traitor. Because you need something to add up. But these faithfuls aren't very smart, so whoever says something, they're going to jump on board for whoever it is in the moment. Which leads us to the murder on who they're going to murder next episode. I don't know who they're going to murder next episode. I'm a little scared for Rob, though, because Eric may be in the trenches, and if people do get partnered up at the end, I don't think they're going to make Johnny and Tara go to the end. There's no way. They've got to be a banishment at some point in time. But in terms of murder, if they murder Kristen, Eric's name could still be floated out there, but there probably wouldn't be enough evidence for that to happen. And they'd probably be banishing Johnny or Tara. Because Eric, when Rob mentioned that Kristen is suspicious of you, he just said, as long as you have my back with Mark, I think would be fine. And Rob said, yeah. So I'm wondering if that's going to go through if they don't murder Kristen. Because they could murder Natalie. And people know Natalie and Rob have trust in each other because Rob called out Natalie at the table saying, hey, I trust you. Because he's the one who changed his vote to Steven based on what Natalie had told him. So the faithfuls probably won't suspect Rob if he keeps murdering people he's very close to in the house. But he's very close to a lot of people in the house. So if you are someone that's in the house instead of us as a viewer, you would see that he's very close to people. So it wouldn't be suspicious, but it could be suspicious at the same time because now all the people he's close to are now leaving. So yeah, I think he's in a great spot. I'm just worried what will happen when he gets to the bonfire, because I don't know if he will have an ally, and they got to break up the pairings in order for that to happen. So my guess is that they murder Natalie, but I also could see them murdering Kristen. But that may be risky. I could see Kristen being murdering the next time and maybe have Natalie get murdered this time. Or you could flip it. You could have Kristen murder and maybe nip that in the bud with Eric and then have Natalie next time. Because Natalie could be an easy banishment too, based on the way she's been acting the last few episodes, along with her being a gamer. She's the only gamer left. But then I'm surprised no one is really suspicious of the men, because there hasn't been a men revealed to the faithfuls in the turret, because all the traitors that have been eliminated are all women. That's the only thing I haven't heard really in the house, because everyone keeps thinking that Tara is a traitor. So if they didn't believe all the housewives, or they didn't believe no gamers, then they should think about the men as well, considering they banished Steven. So yeah, I can see them murdering the women and then banishing the men, because they're probably looking for a male traitor. So maybe that's what they're going at. I don't know, but I'm excited. Also, too, there were some cute little, funny remarks in the house. I absolutely loved when Eric and Rob were having the conversation when Rob was first revealed to Eric as a traitor. He's like, we gotta murder someone tonight. He's like, we gotta murder somebody tonight? And he's like, that's kind of our job. I don't know, just the way that Rob responded, so nonchalant, it was so great. I just kind of chuckled. And then, Rob is just spread out on the couch, and Kristen's in the chair, and Eric's in the other chair, and his commentary was so good during that moment. He's like, Rob is just like an eagle, just, sitting there, whereas, I'm sweating in my seat. And he had some good one-liners this episode. It was so good. It was so great. I'm loving Eric as a traitor, honestly. I want him and Rob to go to the end and maybe, do, a CT and Trishelle thing where they both, split the money or whatever. But it's, I honestly like Eric. Oh my gosh, he's so funny. He's, funny, kind of like how Rob is funny. He's unintentionally funny. You wouldn't suspect them to be, comedians or anything. But the way that they say stuff and their thought process, they're both, quirky in that way. And they're just entertaining. So I'm really excited to see, their duo continue on. just like how it was in the mission this episode, because I just loved it. I was just smiling ear to ear because it was just kind of cute watching them, to be honest, because they have this cute little friendship, which is so funny because Eric is a decade older than Rob, even though Rob seems like the older brother in this situation. And I just love it. They're just, they kind of remind me of like a pairing and like Big Brother or something. That would be just like a secret alliance and like, let's like work together. So yeah, I can't wait to see the following episodes and see what happens at the reunion. I feel Rob is playing a tremendous game, but I feel like we aren't necessarily seeing his full game because of how like stupid the Faithfuls are being. But yeah, I would be fine if Eric and Rob got to the end and split the money, but I'd also be fine with Rob winning solo. It would just suck if it's another Faithful season, just because of how the traitor dynamic was this season. I feel like it was just, I just feel like it was a nice overall gameplay for the traitors. So it would suck to get to the finish line and then not be able to cross it. I feel like that would be suck. But I also love a good like surprise dagger. I absolutely love it. So even if there was like a Faithful at the end, like Mora, for example, she finds out Rob is a traitor and then she like convinces the other people to get rid of him. That would be, I'd just be like, I would applaud that because that would be something like a backdoor in Big Brother or some type of like vote change. So I like that too. I like the element of surprise. Like I was so surprised that Steven was banished this episode. So those are my thoughts on episode 9 of Traitors. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.